Good morning, meteorologist Amanda Pappas here. Brand new tropical update for you. So I wanted to go ahead and just put all your worries at ease for right now. Today, you're in the clear. We're good to go. It's a normal day. And including tomorrow, we're going to see a beautiful day actually today and tomorrow with low end rain chances. But what the latest is from the National Hurricane Center is that we do see an upgrade in terms of Invest 97L. So we have two different areas that we're monitoring the tropics. One out here in the Atlantic. That's not the one we're worried about. The one that we're keeping a close eye on is going to be the one that is in the Caribbean. Right now, nothing is formed. This is just an area of disorganized thunderstorms. But in the 8 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, this was upgraded from a 70% to an 80% chance for development over the next 48 hours. Not a big deal. We knew that this was going to happen. We knew that we were expecting today to see that center of circulation or for the system to officially become named and form. So this is right on cue with what we have been expecting and telling you guys. So I've been mentioning this system that we had to keep our eyes on the Caribbean since last Wednesday at this point. So our tropical satellite is showing us some plumes of moisture right here. And you can see that the system is still combating a little bit of wind shear, and also a little bit of that dry air is going to help to keep it a little more lopsided. But as it interacts and moves over warmer waters, that's going to help to keep this system alive and keep it thriving as well. And we want to look for that area of circulation, right? That center of circulation. So once we get that center of circulation, that circle basically around it, and those thunderstorms are all even around that center of circulation, it'll continue then to move northward in the Caribbean and also then push into the Gulf of Mexico. So if you haven't been up to date so far, here's what you need to know. Heading into Tuesday, Wednesday, we likely will have a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Look at Future Track. It moves northward in the Caribbean and continues to push into the Gulf. This is Thursday morning, 8 a.m. We already then are impacted by bands of rain and wind. So timeline for you. We see late Wednesday is when we start to feel the impacts of this potential tropical system or potential hurricane down the line. Right now, again, nothing exists out there. This is just an area of disorganized thunderstorms, but what we do see is that the models have a really good handle on where this is going, and they're getting a much better agreement. And once we get that center of circulation, they'll get an even better agreement and tell us exactly and be able to pinpoint exactly where this thing is going to make landfall. So here's what you need to know. Invest 97L moving northward into the rest of the Caribbean, then pushing out into the Gulf. It's going to try to make a landfall. A lot of the models showing us right now a landfall along the Big Bend of Florida, potentially Tallahassee or just to the north of us. We can see that there's still a spread, however, and a couple of the models still are a little too close for comfort, continuing to see that that direct impact potentially could be just north of Tampa. That's why we have to keep our eyes on it. No hype. No fear. I'm going to go back so you guys can see it for yourselves again. Look at this. The models showing us that potential landfall right along the Big Bend of Florida, but showing a little more of a spread this morning. Another thing, we always look at two major models here. The European, take a look. Right here, we see the system moving slowly into the Gulf of Mexico. And when we expect that landfall, Thursday, late into Thursday, between 5 to about 8 p.m. That's going to be that time frame I would give it right now. However, that can change. Again, the system hasn't formed yet, but this is the latest on our models that we want to go ahead and show you so that way you can make informed decisions and just be prepared. There's no need to panic. It's just a good time to review everything that you have in terms of supplies for your hurricane kit. And remember, this system will be really bringing us impacts far outside of just the forecast cone. We will be feeling those impacts, and we still will be on the dirty side of the storm no matter what. So that is something to keep in mind too. So as the system continues to move northward, here's that potential landfall along Tallahassee, right here along the Big Bend of Florida into the Panhandle. This is Thursday, 6 o'clock. This is the European model, so that's just one model, and it takes it then more inland, and then it'll weaken heading into this weekend, and we'll be done with the system by early Sunday. Here's the other model that we always rely on as well, the American model that picked up on this system back last week. So just for frame of reference, the European had the system farther west. Now it's gotten in better agreement. So I've been keeping my eyes on the American. It's the one that has been the most consistent in terms of having this in the eastern portion of the Gulf. So the American model right here, this is Wednesday. You can see already potentially having a hurricane out there in the Gulf of Mexico. That's why I'm trying to get you guys ready and informed. So we do continue to see it moves northward, right? And this is a potential brush past us. But again, a little too close for comfort. So that's why we got to keep an eye on it. So the latest in terms of what the model is doing is that the American took more of that eastward shift just a little bit. Now we don't want to see that. Hopefully it shifts more westward again, but here's the bottom line. If it does shift more eastward, we know that those impacts will be greater for us here in the Tampa Bay area. But it looks to be that we could have that landfall along the Big Bend of Florida again late Thursday, and it'll then push into land and then continue to move away from us. And we will see conditions improve heading into Sunday. Now, your wind shear also, this system has to combat a little bit of that. So that's something to keep in mind that could potentially make it weaker. Here's a recap for you. Again, what you need to know, if you haven't been listening, listen up now. A storm could be in the Gulf this week, a hurricane potentially by Wednesday. What we're going to be impacted with, rain, wind, surge, late Wednesday is when it starts up until Friday. Severe weather's possible. Rainfall total still up for grabs, but anywhere from 4 to 7 inches. Some gusty winds up to 45, even 50 miles per hour. Again, these impacts could be stronger the farther east it shifts. That potential landfall, Big Bend of Florida, late Thursday. The changes, they're still in play. We could see changes in timing, intensity, and track for you. Here's your 7-day forecast. We're good to go today and tomorrow. Everything's fine. No need to panic. Just make sure you have all your stuff in your kit ready to go today and tomorrow. And then late Wednesday is when we'll start to feel these impacts. We'll have more, and I'll have more on my own social media as well to help you prepare.